Mm, So today we are going to cover Langchain basics, and this is one of the most important lecture actually. Okay. So first of all, what is Langchain and why do we actually need it? I think we discussed a little bit about this one in the last session, correct? So
Yes.
when we develop these LLM based applications, what happens is if we are building only very simple application where we are sending the request, let's say we have created one summarization service which basically takes your text as an input and it will summarize it and it will give it back to you. If that is the only case, then I think we should not be using any framework. So these LLM frameworks are used. Okay, these LLM frameworks are useful only and only when you are building some complex applications. Okay, so Langchain is one of those frameworks. And if we talk about the other frameworks, we have another framework which is called Llama Index. Okay,
Surinder, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Sorry, I was trying to, before you get here, I was trying
Mm-hmm,
to also share my experience. I
mm-hmm,
tried, but for me, it was, I'm on a Mac.
mm-hmm,
They were not allowing Python. I think it was only telling me Python 3. And I was
mm-hmm,
not having a PowerShell. I was using Bash and Z Shell. And
mm-hmm,
those are
mm-hmm.
basically telling me something like v environment create, it says source, and those I google it and tried with that. I think that's just want to share. So sometime Python, it was not even giving me all Python where command version. So I check, he said that you have to use Python 3, and that is
Yeah.
the one I use here.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, you have a different set of commands actually for the Mac actually. Okay, so the whatever which I showed you in the last session that was focused on Windows, that works for the Windows operating system. If you are using like Mac, then those commands actually differ a bit. Okay,
Yeah,
so
because I don't see PowerShell option here there in my terminal.
hmm
It's only give me Bash, G Shell, JavaScript. Even I don't see any Ubuntu and all those things. I don't know. Okay,
hmm hmm
whether shall I go ahead and do the add extension to do that, or that's what I was not sure about.
hmm I also need to figure it out because I also uses I also use Windows actually.
That's
Okay,
okay. I just
so
but I was able to Google it and find out and able to run those commands. I did not reach to the point where I
okay,
collab code I copied and tried, but I
hmm
was almost there and up to the execution
okay,
of from VS
okay.
Code. Yeah.
I mean, try that as well. So and if you're stuck, maybe we can sit together. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, so we are talking about LLM frameworks, okay? And the two most famous frameworks are like one is your Langchain and other framework is your Llama Index. Okay, and we will be focusing mainly on the Langchain. This entire course is based on Langchain because I have seen that this is something which is most of the time being used in the industry. Okay, I have also worked on a couple of projects where we use LangChain. So this entire course will be focused on LangChain, but learning once you learn the LangChain, if you want to use the Llama index, I mean, it will not be very difficult for you guys. Okay, so the concepts are almost same. It's just that you have to use some different libraries, maybe uh, some different objects here and there, change in the arguments. But yes, more or less the concepts are almost same. Okay, so the first thing is about the LangChain packages. So if we talk about LangChain, initially they came up only with a single package, okay, which was like, you just install that LangChain package and that's it. But over the time, what they have done is they have came up with a lot of new offerings. Okay, so now they also have something called as LangGraph, which is being used to build agents as well. They also have integrations with the third parties. For example, they are compatible with more than 100 LLM providers. They are compatible with different vector databases. Okay, so over the time they have grown and they have libraries for different things. And so let's take a look. What are those things? I mean, this is the entire ecosystem. Okay, so the first thing is the LangChain, which we will be using very heavily, where we will install this library and we will be able to build our applications using LangChain objects. Then there is something called as a LangGraph, which is again a library and it is being used to build the agents. Okay, we will be creating the workflows where complex tasks can be done autonomously with the help of agents. So when we work on the agents, we will be using this line graph also. So this will be covered later. And then, as I said, it has a lot of integrations with the vector databases, integration with a lot of LLM providers, like it will be able to integrate with the Google models, Anthropic models, OpenAI models, Claude models, and all those stuff. And the other component of the ecosystem is LangGraph Cloud, where you can actually deploy your applications as well. Okay, so I think this is for deploying your agents. So they have also come up with the cloud platform where you can build your applications using LangGraph, and then once it is being done, you can deploy them also on your LangGraph cloud. And the most important is the offering which is called as the Langsmith. So this Langsmith is nothing but it is an monitoring, I mean, tool. So whatever we do, right, whatever code which we write in the Langchain, we will be building components, we will integrate it with the LLMs, and then we will be creating chains. Okay, so whenever we do all these things, if you want to monitor our application, what is going on under the hood or behind the scenes, then we should be using Langsmith. So it's an observability platform. It's a place where we can see the logs, we can debug our applications, and this also we will work on. Okay, we will be using this one in our course as well. All right. And if we, dig more into what are those the APIs or the libraries which are being offered, they mainly have, first of all, there is something called the LangChain. Okay, so this particular package contains the ready to use objects that we can import and start to use them. For example, if we need to chat with the CSV, then there is an already library which is being there, which we just need to plug in and we can start chatting with the CSV files. So this is the first library. Second is the LangChain core, which is having the objects related to the LCell. LCell is the LangChain expression language, where what we can do is we can basically the output of the first component can be fed as an input to the next component and so on and so forth. Okay, so all those kind of things are there in the LangChain core. We will be, deep diving into all these things once we start, I mean, writing the code. The LangChain community is the package where the third party integrations are being done. So whenever we are looking for any third party integration, then we should be looking into LangChain community. For example, if we need to plug in vector databases, okay, then all those vector databases integrations will be available in LangChain community package. Parsers like your string output parser, your JSON parsers, your data connectors, things like that are available in LangChain community package. So it's not like that all the third party integrations are there in the LangChain community. There are integrations which are very big. For example, OpenAI, right? So OpenAI itself is a very large integration. So what they have done is they have created one package which is dedicated to OpenAI only. So they name it like, LangChain hyphen OpenAI. So those OpenAI and Grok, they are having their own packages because they are very big integrations. Okay. And then we have the LangServe, where we can deploy the LangChain runnables and chains as the REST APIs. And Langsmith, which I explained, it's an observability platform where we can observe what is going behind the scene, what is output of my first component, my input to the second component, output of the second component. So basically, we can debug our applications. We can see what is output of the different components, right? Because when we build an application, in our application we will be giving just input and we will be getting the output, but what is going in between input and output, that can be seen in your Langsmith. Okay, so we will be using all of them. So I mean, this was just a brief introduction. Any questions so far, guys?
So do we need to install all of these libraries
Yeah, yeah.
packages?
Yes, we
Okay.
will do that.
Okay.
It will not be a very, big deal. So let's start, in fact. So what I will do is I will open my Google Colab. I hope you guys can see the screen.
So, Surendra, I am having one question.
Mm-hmm.
So, Langchain is like built on having the same code like as Python.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Langchain has the same code as Python, meaning when we are building our applications, right?
Mhm.
If I am writing my application in the Python, then these LangChain offers APIs, okay, or
Mhm.
the libraries which are also written in the Python. So I can consume those libraries to further get integrated with the LLMs and vector databases and other components. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's a layer between us or our application and the LLM basically.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, and that is also written in the Python.
Oh,
Okay. So let me open Google Colab. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Create a new notebook. Okay, we can also go to Langchain site also. So if you go there, you will see something called as the docs. Okay, so this documentation is important. The documentation is further divided into Python and JavaScript. We will be focusing on Python, LangGraph, Langsmith, and Langchain. Okay, so we we know it, right? LangGraph is for agents. Langsmith is the monitoring product to monitor my application, and Langchain is to build applications based on the Langchain. If you see there, these are the versions point 1, point 2, and point 3. So right now we are on the latest version 0.3. All right. So if you look into this particular documentation, you have something called how to guides. Okay. So if you want to know how to do installation, what are the key features, the components, check models, messages, prompt templates. Okay. So you can have a look on all these things. Okay. What are the different document loaders? Everything is available here. And there is another important thing, which is conceptual guide. If you want to build your concepts for the LangChain, what do you mean by chat models? What are messages? What are chat history, tools calling? Everything is there. Okay. So if you are building or using LangChain and if you are stuck, I would definitely suggest that you should have an habit of coming to its official documentation instead of going to the several YouTube videos where you can get confused. Go to the official documentation. If you want to search something, search here. Okay. For example, let's say I want to do OpenAI integration with the LangChain, then it will show. Okay. Always trust on this official documentation. That's what I mean to say. Right now, like you can see, I have clicked on integrations. Okay, so it will show the various integrations the LangChain has. For example, for the different providers, I have Anthropic, AWS, Google, Hugging Face, Microsoft. If I click on more, I can see that there are around hundreds of integrations. So all these are what they have. This LangChain is having integrations with all these large language model providers. Okay, so let me see if there is a DeepSeek. Okay, activate deep. Where is DeepSeek? Okay, so if you want to use your DeepSeek model, then you should be coming here, search for the DeepSeek, and go inside that. It will tell you what library you need to install. From Langchain underscore DeepSeek, you should import DeepSeek. Okay. It also has the API reference. If you click on that, it will exactly go to the libraries and it will show you. Okay. So
Surendra, one
yeah.
query.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, Surendra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I use, see, this is the DeepSeek. Is it a public or private library?
It's a
It's a
public
private.
library. It's an open source. Langchain is an open source. Okay.
Okay,
So feel free to use. DeepSeek is also an open source model.
okay.
Okay.
And
And
and when I
mm,
use this one, so I have to use the key as well, right? Uh,
correct. Correct.
Token key. So that
Yes.
key again, like what key should
I
I
will show
use?
you that. Yeah.
Sure.
We will do that today. Okay. So I was just telling, how to reach on different things on the documentation. So these are the different providers, these are the different components. Okay, if you want to see, let's say you have a requirement where you have to use a particular vector store. So you need not to, learn that how to write the code, and you should not remember each and everything. You should come to the official documentation. For example, vector stores. I need to see how I can integrate with the Chroma database. Okay, so I will click on vector stores and then I can see, okay, these are the embedding models. Let's say I'm using OpenAI embedding models. Then it will say what kind of vector store you want to use. If you want to use in-memory or Chroma, let's say I want to use Chroma database. Okay, then it will show me the different steps, how I should proceed, which library I should install. So I will be installing Langchain Chroma. So the Langchain has built all these libraries for the different providers. And then I need to import the Chroma vector database, the library, and then this is how I need to create the embeddings and Chroma database. Okay, there is a nice table also where it shows the different vector stores and what are their capabilities. So it can also help me to select my vector database as well. Let's say I want to use FAS, then I can further click on the FAISS. This is Facebook AI search similarity. This is also one of the vector databases. You can go into it and then you can read about, how to set up and the different commands. Okay. So don't ever feel that, how should I code? The coding is very difficult. I don't know how to use and write. Always refer the official documentation. Then they have the sample code for each and everything. They also want us to use LangChain. So they have simplified a lot of things. Okay, let's go back to what we were interested in, the OpenAI. So I have clicked on that. It says installation and setup. Install the integration package with this command. Okay, so I will go back and I will start putting my code. So the first step is to install our LangChain OpenAI library. As I said earlier, we have we have integrations, all the integrations in the Langchain community, third party integrations, but for the bigger integrations, they have created those dedicated libraries. For example, for Langchain, for OpenAI, they have created a library called Langchain-OpenAI. Okay, similarly for Grok, which I will cover in some time, for Grok, we have Langchain-Grok. Okay, so I can remove this output. Okay, and then so this is my first step. Let's go back to my, and then what is from Langchain OpenAI. So instead of that, first I need to import the my keys, right? So I can do import OS. There is something called the secret keys. If I go there, in this Google Colab, they provide one mechanism where you can put your keys so that they are not visible, or they are very handy to use basically. Okay, so for example, I want to use OpenAI key. I can turn it on. If I want to add any key, I can just click on this one and I can name my key and put my value of my key. Okay, for example, for OpenAI, I have already this key and the value is also there. I'm not sure it's correct, so I will just take my key again. We will delete the earlier key. Why it is not showing? Anyways, I will just paste. In the end, it is A. In the end, it is A. Okay, so I have pasted my key. I have imported OS. So there are various ways by which I can import my key into my code. Okay, so right now I'm using the secrets one. Okay, and then they also show the snippet of the code which I can use for loading my key. Okay, so I will click on code. What is the secret name? Secret name is OpenAI key. I will take that, put it here, and I need to set it to OpenAI only, right? So I have set the value of OpenAI API key as the value of this particular key. I hope it is clear, right? What I'm trying
Yes,
to do?
Surendra.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I will run this command. By running this command, my OpenAI API key is now set. And my next step is to import this particular thing I have, but I have not installed what? I have not installed my OpenAI itself, isn't it? So what I will do, pip install, sorry, Langchain framework. I will just do Langchain. So this will install my Langchain library. Okay, and this is the integration library. Okay, this is done. Clear output. Now what? Now what I need to do, I need to import this one, shift enter. It will run this cell and it will also create another blank cell. Done. And then this is what if you are using Azure. No, you are just using.
Surendra, one query, sorry.
Yeah.
So here we are managing the variables here, right, as part of the Google Colab.
Mm-hmm.
Means open API key, it's a kind of key value I can think of, right, as per Java.
Correct.
So if we are maintaining here a Google Colab, so in
Mm-hmm.
case of real time, is it a kind of properties file or something we will use it, or?
I mean, it's .env file, right? Which I explained in the
Okay.
last lecture. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm. So we have what we have done. We have installed our Langchain. We have installed our Langchain integration with the OpenAI. And what next is we have imported the chat OpenAI also. Now model equals to chat OpenAI. API key is none. OS dot this has to be set like this. Okay. Okay. So what I have done is I have imported chat OpenAI. Okay. So you have to, remember this thing that we are importing chat OpenAI, not just OpenAI, because OpenAI is an old library of the LangChain where we try to use text-based APIs. But now we have switched to message-based APIs, correct? For that, I need to import chat OpenAI. So this is one common mistake which people do. They import OpenAI, rather we need to do chat OpenAI. Okay. So once I have imported that, what I have done is I have instantiated my model, which is chat OpenAI, without giving. What I can do is I can give name of my model. For that, I need to go to OpenAI. Okay. I'm just trying to show you how you can do it yourself. That's why I'm going here and there. Tu, tu, tu. So in the quick start, they are showing me this code which we ran last time. I'm looking for the models, which model I have to use, the name of the models. Okay, so these are the model. Let's say I want to use GPT-4o. I will copy the name and then I can put it here. Okay, if I run that, all right. Now model dot invoke. Okay, invoke is the method which we use whenever we want to send our request. This is called as the runnable. Okay, we will talk more about it on what is invoke. For example, I want to say what is capital of India. If I run that, authentication error, your API key type invalid, param code, no. Incorrect API key provided. Open AI API key. Okay. So what I receive is I receive one AI message as an output. In this AI message, there is a object called content. It says the capital of India is New Delhi. And there are a couple of more arguments, like what are the arguments: refusal, none, response, metadata, how much tokens are being used. Completion tokens are 9, prompt tokens are 12, and the total tokens are 21. So it gives me a lot of information on this particular call, which was there for the large language model. Okay, finish reason because it was stopped, log props, and things like that. Okay, makes sense. So this is how we can call the large language model. So this time we have called OpenAI's GPT-4o model. Is it clear? So this model is basically deployed in the public domain. Just like when we use the chat GPT, similarly, OpenAI has deployed their models on their servers. What we are doing is we are using the Langchain API to invoke that particular model. We have imported the necessary libraries. We have set our OpenAI key, and then we are invoking GPT-4o model to get a response to our query. Is it fine, guys?
Surendra, one query.
Hmm, hmm,
See, you were typing general query, like what input, what text we can uh, type and expect from the OpenAI answer. What kind of, like, see, for example, I wanna uh, type maybe what input we have given for this one. No input, right? Only GPT-4o model we used. From
hmm,
that,
hmm,
it
hmm.
is giving whatever query we have given. Correct?
Correct.
It will not give any relevant to our personal information or project information,
Correct,
company.
correct, correct. Hmm. So right now, this is just using the capability of the trained data, right? Whatever data which OpenAI used to train their models, it is giving answer according to that only. We have not used our organization data. For that, we have to do RAG, retrieval augmented generation, that we will see in 2 3 lectures from now. Okay.
Okay. So now how it is working, how ChatGPT is working, similarly, it is also working like this, correct?
Exactly. ChatGPT
So,
may have a lot of other things because ChatGPT itself is an application. It's not a model, but it is using a model in the back end, right? So there may be a lot of things between that model and that application. But yes, this is, I mean, you can compare it with the ChatGPT in the way that that is also calling GPT model, and we are also calling a GPT model. Okay?
sure. And yeah, and
Mm.
one query. So
Mm-hmm.
you are using the same query, like what is the capital of India? So
Mm-hmm.
if I type it like multiple times, same query, will it give same answer?
Yes, it will give it. It may give some different answer based on the temperature, right? So what I can do is, I think I can pass the temperature as well. If I say temperature is 0, okay. So what? Oh, sorry. Let me execute this one. We studied about the concept of temperature, right? So the transformer are electrical devices. What are transformers in LLM? Transformers in LLM refers to a type of neural network architecture that is commonly used for NLP. Okay. So this is my response. Maybe let me copy paste. If I rerun this one, transformers is a language which refers to a type of neural net. So I mean this can definitely change, but if we want to minimize our change, we need to make the temperature close to 0. And if you want to make it very, uh, what I should say, if I need to see changing answer or variability in my answer, then I can increase my temperature. Okay, so this time when I say temperature equal to 1, this can give me a different answer, right? In LLM's transformers refers to a deep model commonly known as blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it depends on the temperature, but yes, your answer may not be always 100% same. That's why we say large language models as a black box. What is going inside or what is happening inside that large language model, nobody knows actually. Okay, so that's kind of a black box for us, and it can generate different answers. But in order to minimize that variability, what we can do is we can always minimize the temperature to close to 0. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, Surya, I got it.
Yeah. So this is how we can use Langchain to invoke the model like OpenAI model, which is GPT-4o. If you want to invoke any other model, you can always go to OpenAI website and you can try all these different models. Okay. Now, what's
And
next? Hmm.
I'm sorry, yes, sir. One
Yeah.
is like queries in a sense like maybe I'm not disturbing, right? So because see, if I want to use it in my project, like what is the consequences like for the open source?
So open
Uh,
source, yeah. So it should not be used because right now they are in the OpenAI domain. The model which we are invoking is in the domain of OpenAI, and they may be using our data for the training of their I mean model itself, right? So if you want to use for an enterprise application, then what you need to do is you need to deploy this model in your uh, cloud platform. For example, they have partnership with the Microsoft, right? So I have seen for most of the customer who want to use OpenAI models, they generally deploy it in their Microsoft Azure account. Okay, and from there they can use it. Okay, so what they will do is they will create an instance of this model and they deploy it in your own Microsoft account so that it becomes secured. Now that model is in their basically platform in their account, which is being segregated by the outer world by different firewalls and VPCs and all those stuffs. Okay, in order to make it secure.
Okay, okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I wanna try in my local and all,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
I mean, you can use
again,
this one. Yeah,
there would be the security.
correct. So this you can directly call
Okay,
OpenAI just for
got
creating any POCs or things like that.
it.
Okay. If you are doing it for your customer, for your
Okay, sure.
for your client, then definitely you have to do it uh, in their Azure account or your company's Azure account. Okay. So
Got it.
so this is
So,
how.
Surendra, I have a
Hmm,
question.
hmm. Go ahead. Hello, can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we have tried without Langchain also. It was the same result, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. So what I'm saying, we tried this one without Langchain also. It was the same response. We
Hmm,
installed the open key, invoke the model, we send the prompt, we get the response, right?
hmm.
What Langchain is doing here?
Yeah. So the if you are building an application which is doing just like this one, that they are simply asking a question and getting a response, then you are correct. We should not be using LangChain. Okay. In that case, we should use directly the APIs from the OpenAI. Okay. But LangChain will be
Right.
used, should be used when we build some complex applications. But since this is a foundation, I need to start from zero, right? So I'm just telling you, and then grow gradually. We will
Okay.
increase the complexity of our application, where you will be able to appreciate why we are using the LangChain. Okay. All right. So my next is: have you guys heard about Grok? Okay. So
Yeah, I
Grok
think
is
you explained it's like an open key without any
correct, correct.
payment, right? It's a free one.
Yes, so they claim to be the fastest actually. So they provide the platform where they usually deploy all the open source models, and we can use it basically with the help of their APIs, free API keys. And they claim that the response from the models which are deployed in their platform is fastest. Use Grok fast. Okay, so let's try to use the Grok one. Where is the documentation? Grok. Grok API keys. Similar to we created API keys for OpenAI, we need to have API keys for Grok as well. So let me create API key demo batch 2. This is my API key, copy, paste, and I will go back to my LangChain. And if I want to see the integration with Grok, I should go to integration, and within the integration, I can see the Grok. Okay. Grok developed the world's first language processing unit. This is the setup. Okay. So if I want to use Grok, I need to simply, first of all, install the library, which is pip install Langchain Grok. Okay. This also has a dedicated library.
Why we are using sometime percentage, sometime exclamation?
So they are actually same. So if you are doing it in our local machine, we should not be using this percentage or this hyphen. Okay, but since we are doing it on Google Colab, we have to use it because I mean this is to tell the Google Colab that we are working on its terminal. So whatever we install get installed on in their environment basically. Okay,
Okay.
pip install Langchain. So I have installed the even if you don't use, I think it should be working, but it's the best practice to use. Okay, so this is Grok library has been installed. What next is This is how I need to import it. And again, let's import the OS dot environ. I need to set my Grok API keys. And what is the syntax? This is the Grok API key. Put it here, equals to, go back to my keys. Okay. If you want to use some other method, let's say I want to use some other method to import. What is that? Is import get pass. Get pass, I think. So what I can do is get pass dot get pass. Okay. So what this will do is it will basically, this will prompt me for my key. Okay. So this is another way to import your key. So what I will do, I will just copy paste my key and I can paste it here. Okay. So my key is now set. And then what I need to do, I can simply write model equal to grok. And first I need to import my library, which is this one. This is also comes like dot grok. And then if I click on tab, this is basically loading GPT-4o, which is not correct. This never supports closed source models. Let me go to the models. So these are the different models. Let's try to use Llama. Okay. Even if you don't use, it will by default use some Mistral model. But let's say I want to use Llama 3.3 70 billion model. I can click on this one and model. And how do we invoke our models? We invoke it like, so this is the Langchain way, right? So Langchain library provide us this invoke method to invoke our LLMs. I can ask the same question. What is transformers? What is transformer architecture maybe? Okay. So this was fast, right? I think it was a bit faster. So this is again giving us in the response an object which is called AI message. Okay. We will talk more about it. And the answer is there. Transform architecture is a type of blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is how we can call our OpenAI as well as the models which are there on the Grok platform. Is it clear, guys? So now you can build applications using Langchain and you can invoke these models also. All right. What next we will do is, let me go back to my PPT. We have seen the different components of my Langchain ecosystem. I have Langchain core, Langchain community, Langchain. These are the different hands-on we have done. We have used OpenAI and the Grok keys. What is next is the messages. Okay, so we'll see what are messages basically. So in, I think, last lecture or maybe before last lecture, we discussed that earlier these models. So if we talk about large language model, they are simple machines which can accept any text and which can generate text as an output. Okay, they are simple text input output machines. But if you want to use them, if you want to invoke them, what earlier they did was they created APIs which were text based. Okay, for example, in this one, we are simply passing a text, right? While invoking the my model, I am just passing the text. Okay, but these days, but Langchain is very intelligent and it is converting this request or this text into some messages. Okay, so now they have been this invoke this way has been changed from text based to the message based. I think we talked about it, right? I am not sure you guys still remember or not.
So when you talked about message, user message, system message, and
Correct,
all
correct.
attention and all. Okay, yeah.
Or maybe let me help you recall that. Let me bring one slide. Oh, just a second. Okay, so this slide we discussed in the, I think, session 2. I hope you remember. So message-based APIs is the new way of sending requests to the LLMs. Earlier, we were using large language models. We were simply passing the text and we were getting output in the form of text. This is still the same, but what we have done is we added another layer. Okay, another layer where which was called LLM API. OpenAI and Google and all the LLM providers created one API which was in between my LLM and the user, and that API was accepting your text as an input. Just like we just passed, right? What is transformer? In the form of text, it was taking the input, okay, or the prompt basically. Then what they changed, they further changed these APIs, LLM APIs, and they change and make it as a message based APIs. Now, if you want to invoke these APIs, we should be passing the system message, human message, and AI message. Okay. Internally, it will again go to the LLM only in the form of text. But in order to facilitate what is my system message, what is my human message, and what is my AI response, in order to keep the conversational history and to keep the context of the entire conversation, they have made it in a message-based APIs. Okay, this we will see also. So yeah, so these are those objects basically. So these are objects of Langchain, which will be using AI message. Whenever there is a response from the LLM, that will be marked as an AI message. The human message is an object where we are passing the question from the user. Okay, and system message is a message where we are setting the persona or personality of my large language model. We say that you are an helping assistant, or we will say you are an HR for a XYZ company. Your behavior should be like that. You should be okay. So all those things we will be doing in system message object. Is it clear now? So AI message is an object that comes from the Langchain core part of the framework. It is an abstraction that allows Langchain to work with messages that we are going to be interacting with the LLM. Is that clear? So what we have done is, this is my LLM API, which is message based, and this is an OpenAI API actually. On top of it, what we have done, we have open Langchain APIs, which are using this syntax. Okay, this AI message, human message, and system message, and whatever messages we set for these objects, that will first be converted into your LLM API, and then the request will be sent to the LLM. Okay, so this we will see what are messages and how to send request using messages. Okay, let's go to the coding part again. To- 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 So instead of typing everything from scratch, I think it makes sense to fasten the coding. Give me a second. Yeah. So we are talking about messages. Okay. What happened? Why this is not pasting? Okay, let me type it. So what I need to do is from Langchain, and this time this is coming from my core library dot messages import human message AI message, and what was the other one? AI human and system message should be there, right?
System message.
System message. Okay. So this everything is coming from my core library. What next? I can basically create the list of my messages. System message. Why the autocomplete is it's not working? You are a helpful assistant. My another message can be like human message. What are transformers in LLM? Okay. So this is how what I can do. I can send all my messages. I can club all those messages in a messages list, and then I can pass it to my LLM. Okay. So this is the new way of using. What I need to do is simply my response is equal to, where is my object, model underscore grok invoke messages. Okay, and if I see my response, what I will see, my output is in the form of an AI message. Okay, so I passed one system message, the another human message, and then the response which I am getting is also in the term of messages object, which is an AI message. Is it clear, guys? So since this is response from the LLM, it is marked as AI message. And my system message, I have marked it as you are an helpful, you are a helpful assistant. This is my question. I can add actually, right? So this can be a long list. Okay. So this is basically to maintain the conversation history, because LLMs are memory less. They don't know what you talked in the just previous call, or maybe for the last 1 minute or half an hour, whatever you have been talking about, it does not has any memory. And in order to give it the context of the conversation, we need to send all the messages while sending the request. Okay, so that is the reason we want to club all the historical messages, and whenever a new question will come, we will just append that question in this messages, and then we will send it to the LLM. Okay, so it will be able to relate, okay, this is what you asked earlier, this was my reply, this is your question on top of it, and then this is how I approached, and then there was still some issue, so user has given some more prompt, and then so it will retain the context of the conversation. I hope it is clear. Okay, so this you can build as an, some conversation. Let's say this we usually don't repeat again and again. Instead of that, let me put AI message. You're on transformers, and let's say transformers are blah blah blah. Okay, sorry, I pasted it wrong place. And then my question is when they were invented or when it was invented into it. Okay, so my question is now having it basically. So it should be able to understand what do I mean by it. Transformer was introduced in Paper Attention is All You Need by Vasan in 2017. I hope it is clear the use of messages and how we can pass the different messages in my as a list.
And Surendra, one query.
Mhm.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. So is like, does this open, sorry, GenAI or open, like whatever these platforms, right?
Mhm.
ChatGPT or DeepSeek, does these apps require, proper English?
Proper English.
Proper English, yes. Because see, we are typing in English.
Mhm.
If I type it with more spaces or wrong spell or like even
Mhm.
irrelevant,
It
and
is
see,
still able to
intention is
understand
that
that, right?
something I want to
Mhm.
understand, like I want
Mhm.
to know that who is the, sorry, what is the capital of India? I, by mistake, I typed in who is the capital of India. Will it,
Mhm.
is
Yes,
there
yes,
a mistake?
it should be able to understand the, I mean, minor mistakes, right? Just like human beings, right? If you are making some mistake in your sentence, that is still fine for me, right? Because I can, try to
Understand.
guess, I mean, what you were trying to say. Similarly, these machines are so trained that if there is a minor mistake, then it is still able to make what you are trying to ask. Okay.
Okay, got it.
All right. If it's a blunder, then it will say, it will reply that I'm not able to understand your question, or maybe it will try to answer something else. Okay, so this is how you can make use of messages. Let me. So these are actually building blocks. That's why I'm trying to explain you each of these things one by one, because later they will be very helpful for you. Okay, when you build the applications, you need not to, worry about what is message, what is output parsers, what are things like that. Okay, so next is the output parser. So what do we mean by output parser is whenever we basically get a response from my large language model, I can pass that message into a output parser, which will help me to formulate or change the data type into my requested form. For example, these are the components in the Langchain that help us to uniform the data type we get at each step of my workflow. As we talked earlier, we are using Langchain to build some complex applications. So there will be various components or modules which will be talking to each other. What will happen? Let's say my component 2 is expecting some JSON, but my component 1, which is giving its output as an input to my second component, if that input is not in the JSON format, my second component will not be able to entertain it, right? So in order to make it compatible with the expectations of my different components, what I need to do is I need to be very careful on what is my output and how it is going as an input into my next component. Okay? To bring that uniformity, I can use output parsers to make my output as a strict type. Okay, so if my second component is looking for JSON, then it should exactly get JSON as an input. Okay, So in order to bring that uniformity, we can use output parsers. Okay. So let me help you coding that. So this also comes from where? Again, we will do same thing from Langchain underscore core dot, I think, parsers prompt values. There is no parsers. Langchain underscore core. This is coming from, okay, this is named as output parsers. This output parsers import string output parser. Okay, so string output parser, basically whatever it accepts as an input, it will convert it into one string format. So I will import it. What next? I will simply create an object of it. Str parser, let's say. This is my parser. I just need to instantiate it like this. Now, what we can do is we can, whatever response which we got from our LLM, we can simply pass it, right? So I will do str parser and response. What is my response? Response is coming from this one. Okay, so this is my response. So if I pass this response into my parser, what I will be getting is my past response, basically. Okay, so this is still transformers were introduced in a paper called attention. So what it has done is it has transformed. It is not showing me. Just a second. Response underscore past. Okay. And if I print, okay. So this is my answer. Why is it still showing me this metadata? String output parser, string output parser. This is my response. Okay, it should be like response dot invoke. Yeah, this is correct now. Okay, so what it has done is I need to call it like parser dot invoke, and I'm sending my response from the LLM. So what it will do is it will take this response as an input, and I'm again using the same method which is called invoke. Earlier I was using invoke on my LLM. Okay, model.grok.invoke. Now I am using the same method but on a different object, which is a string output parser. So if I pass that response into my string output parser, it will convert it into a string format, and this is my output. I hope this is clear. So if I go to my documentation, there are actually different type of parsers. If I want to have JSON output, then what I can do, I can use JSON output parser, and in that case, my response will be in the form of JSON, which can again be passed into some other component. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. So let me cover some other things also. So there is something called as the runnable interface. Okay. What are the runnable interface? The runnable interface is basically a protocol which is implemented by Langchain that allow me to use same set of methods over different objects. Okay. Or where is that picture? So this picture will help actually. So you have seen that I use the model. Okay, I did model.invoke. Yes or no? Please, guys, do respond so that is it making sense? We used earlier model.invoke. Yes,
Yeah, yes.
right. Similarly, we also did the same thing with my output parser. Just now I did output parser.invoke. So what Langchain has done is they have created couple of methods like invoke, stream, and batch. Okay, which will be working or which will be applicable to different objects in order to make some uniformity. Okay, so similarly, as I did for model and output parser, I can do for prompt template as well. I can call the same method which is invoke. Okay, so this uniformity is brought with the help of runnable interface. Okay, so this is a protocol which helps to have or to expose same methods over different components of the framework. Okay, in order to make the things very easy. For example, I can also do something like model.stream, prompt template.stream, output parser.stream, and then similarly, I can also call the batch method over different components. Okay, in the later part of this lecture, you will also see how to build a chain, and chain is also a runnable. Okay, and that's why over chain also we can call these similar methods like invoke, stream, or batch. Or let me take you to the official documentation. Okay, so these are certain details actually which will help you a lot. Okay, when you write your code, it will be very easy for you guys to understand if you know these concepts. So for that, I should go to Langchain. I can go to how to. If I go to where is the runnable conceptual guide? Runnable interface. Okay. The runnable interface is the foundation for working with the Langchain components, and it's implemented across many of them, such as language models, output parsers, retrievers. We will also see what are retrievers and compiled lang graphs. Okay. So these are the methods actually. So there should be a table. Okay, so this is the table. Okay, so my component is prompt, chat model, output parsers, what are their input types, what input does they take, and what is their output. Okay, where is that? These are the methods: invoke, dot batch, or dot stream. Okay, is it making sense? I think once we will code it, I think it will be further clear. Do I have समझ में आ रहा है guys? Or it is not making sense for you? Say yes or no. These are basically some foundational concepts which if you understand it, it will be very easy for you guys to code the applications. Okay. Otherwise, the people who don't understand these, they always get confused what to use when, what is invoke, what is batch. This is okay. This is being used when we call large language model, but the same method is being used for other components as well. So the reason is all of these objects basically implement one interface which is called runnable interface, and that's why they are able to invoke same type of methods. Okay.
Surya, one
Hmm.
query.
Hmm.
Like how, what, real scenarios we use in project C. For example, now you are building text-based, correct?
Hmm.
So you are typing some text and, giving some answers
Hmm.
from some over internet, I guess, correct?
Hmm.
So now what is like, in real time, see, in my organization, in my account,
Hmm.
like how can I see? I'm a small scale project.
Hmm.
If you, I'm part of, see, there are, 200 plus people resources in the account, but my
Hmm.
team is only six or five, maybe,
Hmm.
correct? It may be that. So only I know that only my scope, like where I'm in that project level.
Mm-hmm.
5 people project level, even in my skill set. So
Mm-hmm.
how can I utilize this genuine for entire, account in client? See, because
Mm-hmm.
if I go to the client and I'm using GenAI, I'm saying I would like to try GenAI for this
Mm-hmm.
year, but where, how, like what
Mm.
step I should take?
So do you know,
Um,
do you know about RAG?
yes, retrieval data augment, right? You are saying.
Mm-hmm. Right. So once we will cover those topics, na, then only you will be able to relate, or
Oh, okay,
you,
okay,
right? I mean,
okay.
we are on the very early stage, right?
Got it.
Even if I explain you, this is how you can use, you won't be able to understand because we haven't
Got it.
covered
Yeah, okay.
all those relevant topics, right? So you have
No
to.
issues. Actually, I'm just expecting some
Mhm.
scenarios, like,
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean,
That's
those
why.
scenarios will only we can discuss once you know the basics, right?
Got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just hold on for maybe 2, 3 lectures. Once we cover RAG, then I think we should be in a good position to discuss all these use cases. Okay, right now we are just building our foundation, the different components which we should know
Understand.
before
Understand.
jumping into the.
Sure, sure. Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so next important thing. So after runnable, the next component is the prompt templates. Okay, so the prompt templates are again very important in the sense that whenever you are creating prompts, this Langchain again offers the library which can help you to build those prompts in a manner which are more useful for complex applications. For example, the prompt templates are of two types. One is the string prompt template and other is your chat prompt template. So what is the string prompt template? A prompt template is a component in the Langchain that exposes a runnable interface. Okay, this is the same thing which we have been talking about. That means runnable interface means now we can do prompt template dot invoke dot stream or dot batch. Just like a model and output parser, you can call its same method, same thing is written. According to the Langchain documentation, a prompt template is a component that allow you to translate user input and parameters into instructions. Yeah, I mean, quite simple English. So we will just use it. Let me go to my, okay, so next is our string prompt template. Okay, sorry for my typos. So my first step is to import. This is, I hope, coming again from the Langchain core. So you can see what all things are coming from Langchain core, right? And then prompts, import string prompt template. Very nice. Execute this. And let's say my prompt is something like string prompt template. Okay, so this is how I can use. So I have imported the library and I have created one object of string prompt template, and this is a method called from template. String prompt template dot from template. What are transformers in the LLM? Okay, so this is earlier we were just giving our input as a string, right? So now we are increasing the complexity. Okay, so this is the way what happened. Prompt template, string prompt template. I think first I need to create the object. String prompt template. Template dot. What is wrong with this one? Let me check. Mm, Is prompt template. Okay. Okay, this is working. Or maybe let me give it some complicated thing like write a blog post on, write a blog post on given a topic I'm just trying to formulate one prompt, write a blog post on the topic with given information as. Okay, so what I have done is I have defined these two variables. So in my prompt template dot from template, I have these two variables. Write a blog post on this topic with the given information as information. Okay, so the beauty of this prompt template which we are using is that we can create some variables and we can pass their values. Okay, let's say what I want to do now is I can simply say my topic is transformers and my information is. So these triple quotes are used when I'm creating any multi-string variable, multiple line variables. So I can do Wikipedia. Okay, so I will take some text and pasted it here. So what it will do is with this information which I am providing, it will try to write a blog post. Okay. So I have defined my prompt template. It has two variables. The value of these two variables have been defined here. And now what we will do is we will call this one. Okay. Equal to prompt.invoke. This should be dictionary. So we have learned, right, in our Python lecture, what is a dictionary? Okay. This should be sometime this autofill creates a lot of problem. ठीक है? Okay. Write a blog post on the transformers with the given information. So what it has done is, so this help us to create some f string kind of thing. In the Python, we have something called as the f string, right? Similarly, we can create some strings which has some variables, and the value of these variables can be passed on the runtime. Okay, so when I say prompt.invoke, what I need to do is I need to give the value of topic and the information, okay, in the form of dictionary. Is it fine? In this format, I am saying the value of topic is this topic in topic variable, I want to assign the value as the variable transformers, and in the information variable, I want to pass this information. Okay, this will make it handy, right? I can pass a lot of different topics and lot of different informations, but still using the same prompt template to generate different responses. So this is how we can replace the value. So when I run this one prompt.template, it basically put the value of topic and information in my prompt, and this is how my final prompt will look like. Is it clear or not, guys? Oh yes, no, 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 yes. Okay, so
And
this
Shrilanka, the
is
answer of that prompt, Surrender,
mm-hmm.
we
So
asked him to write in blog post, na? So again, he
uh,
has given the same.
so this
We
is
have
because I'm just calling my prompt, right? I'm not calling my LLM so far.
mm-hmm.
I just executed my prompt. Okay, so this has what it has done is it has replaced the values of topics and information. That's it. This is my prompt. If I
Mm-hmm.
pass this prompt to my LLM, then it will
Okay,
give me the final response.
got it. Yeah.
Okay, we will use all these components and we will build something. Okay, then it will make more sense for you guys. So I'm just trying to cover all the basics. So next is the chat prompt template. Okay, so this will be more in the form of chat. Okay, specifically chat prompt templates, which are useful when building the language models applications that interact with message-based APIs. Okay, I know you may get confused that sometime we are sending it as a string, sometime we are sending it as a message, and then prompt templates. The prompt templates are also of two type. One is the string prompt template where we are passing an f string with some variables, and the other way is to use the chat prompt template where we will again try to pass our uh, the messages in the form of the text in the form of messages. Okay, so initially you may get confused, but over the time you will get habitual. Okay, so we use chat prompt template, which is again a Python a Langchain object, which will help me to give my input in the form of messages. Okay, so let's use it. Let me just give me a second. Let me just import my file actually so that we can speed up our coding. What's happening? Do-do-do. Okay, leave it. It's not. Okay. Okay, so let's start on the chat prompt template. Similar, just like we did for the prompt template, now we need to import the from Langchain core dot prompts import chat prompt template. And what next is I will simply copy paste this one. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using chat prompt template dot from messages. Earlier, what I was doing, prompt template dot from template. Okay, this is chat prompt template from messages, because now I am putting a stack of messages. Okay, I am putting it as a system. You are an expert copywriter and an experienced copywriter in this topic. Give me a plan for blog post about this information. So I will again use the same topic and information. And then what I need to do, my input dictionary, I can create the input dictionary. Okay, so this is my dictionary object. In the topic, I am again sending my transformers, and in this information, I can actually put the information variable, and this dictionary I am passing as an input to my prompt template dot invoke my this object. So this is will again tell me this is my final prompt. You are an expert copywriter and experienced copywriter in transformers. Okay, so it has replaced the value. Give me a blog post of this plan. Okay, so this is the content of the blog post. Okay, so they are nothing but they are different ways to formulate your prompt. First was the string prompt template, other is the chat prompt template, which is more like message based, and the first one was more like a text based. Okay, I know you are not able to digest, but gradually you will be able to understand. So the next topic is the message placeholder. Okay, in message placeholder, what we do is to add messages to our chat prompt templates, we can use messages placeholder class from the Langchain. This feature allow us to add conversation history to our chat prompt templates. So this is mainly useful. This placeholder is mainly useful when we are building applications which are memory based, which are conversational, and just one single variable, we can pass the entire history to my prompt template. Okay, let me put the code for it. So what I'm doing is message placeholder I have imported. This is also coming from my core library from the prompts. Imported message placeholder. This is now prompt template, chat prompt template from messages, your helpful assistant, and at this place, right? So here I'm setting all my different messages, but with the help of messages placeholder, with this single sentence, actually, this is equivalent to replacing all the different conversations by just single variable. So if this is the conversation history, and in the history, if I have, let's say, 100 messages of human and AI, then what this will do is it will help me to replace all those messages, to put all those messages in this prompt template by just putting one variable. Okay, is it making sense or not? ठीक है, the main purpose is when I'm putting or using chat prompt template, when I'm putting lot of messages, instead of putting all those messages one by one, I can just place message placeholder object. It will have a key called conversation history, or it can be anything, right? You can name it, and then that variable will help me to put all the messages which are stacked. Okay, so when we will build our applications, we will having this kind of object where we will keep on adding the user message as well as the response from the AI. And when we execute this prompt template, it will automatically replace this variable with all these messages. Okay, I think this will be more clear once we used all these things in action. So just remember this thing. That's it as of now. And the last concept is of the chains. Okay, so this is the most important thing. Because the Langchain itself, if you look at its name, it is Langchain. Okay, so they heavily rely on building up chains. Building chains means a chain is a sequence of modular components that work together to perform a complex task. So what we will do is we will create these chains. We have learned about the different components, like we know how to work with the model component, how to create a model component with ChatGrok or OpenAI, how to call it by invoke. There are methods called stream and batch also. In streaming, what happens is instead your response coming to you in one go, right? So what happens is your LLM actually create the response in a streaming manner, word by word. It creates the answer. Okay, this we have seen in the past. The large language models generate answers token by token. Okay, so it's like streaming. So one way of getting the response from LLM is that once the entire response is being generated, it should be passed to the client application. Other is, as long as even a single token is being generated by LLM, it should be passed to the consumer application. Okay, so that is called streaming. So if I want my application to stream the response, meaning it should generate the word by word, then I should be using dot stream. Okay, this invoke, this is stream, and this is batch. If I want to do many calls in one batch, I can create a batch of 20 calls or 30 calls, and then in one go I can invoke my LLM. So these are the different components. Okay, we have seen the prompt template also. And now our thing is that we should be building our application, or we should be creating chains where these components should talk to each other. For example, I can create one chain like prompt, pipe, model, pipe, parser. So what does this chain means? That again, chain is also the final object which is being built, which is a chain, is also a runnable. That means on top of it also I can use the same methods, invoke, stream, and batch. But then how it will work? My first component is prompt, second is model, third is parser. So what does this syntax means? This is LCell, Langchain expression language. So this LCell expression means that whenever I invoke this chain, I will be passing some input, right? So that text or string will be passed to my first component as an input. Okay, for example, my question was, what is transformers? So when I do chain dot invoke what is transformers, that particular string will be passed to prompt, my first component in the chain. And output from the prompt will be passed to my second component as an input. Okay, and the output from my model. So when I call my model, it will give me some response, responding like transformers is an architecture, blah blah blah. So that response will then be passed to my parser. Okay, and the output of my parser will be my final output. Is it making sense or not, guys? Why? What is the meaning of chain basically? Chain means we are plugging together the different components which we have studied so far. Okay, so that when we pass my input, it will go into the different components, and the output of the first component goes into input of my second component, and this is all done automatically. That's why it is very useful. This Langchain is very useful because instead of dealing each and every component separately, I have just built one chain. I will be passing one input and I will get the output. समझ में आ रहा है गाइस? यह सब ऊपर से जा रहा है, आ रहा होगा समझ में? बोलो बोलो.
एक्सरसाइज करेंगे तो थोड़ा
हम्म,
थोड़ा
ठीक है,
समझ
अभी
आएगा।
थोड़ा थ्योरेटिकल है, आई नो.
हम्म।
A chain is a sequence of modular components that work together to perform complex tasks within an LLM application. When invoked, a chain takes the input of the first component. Okay, whatever, if my first component is model, then whatever the chain will take input will go to my model. Okay, so we have to be very careful what is my first component, and that input we need to give while invoking my chain. All right, every component should accept the output of the previous component as an input. Okay, the input of the parser will be output of the model. Very simple. So the chain, prompt, model, and parser, and chain is again a runnable protocol. It implements the runnable protocol. So it will also support the same set of methods like stream, invoke, and batch. Superb. So let's do one exercise. Okay, I think we already have all the things set up.
So can we have a chain of chain?
Yes, we can have.
Okay, and the order has to be the same, prompt model parser or model parser prompt can be the.
So order can be anything, right? Whatever suits to you or your application, you can have that order. Okay. In the next lecture, we will see, how to build a chain within a chain and all those steps. Okay. So I will simply copy paste to save some time. Okay. So this is my code. Again, I am doing what? I am doing a template. This is a simple string. And this is just like an f string in Python, where I have the text and within that I have some variables. Super. So now I am building my prompt. This is chat prompt template dot from template, and I am passing my this variable. So what will happen when okay, let me explain the code first. So this is my first component, which is prompt. My second component is model. Chat grok model name. This time I have given Mixtel model. Okay, I can give any model. So my model is also ready. My output parser is also ready. We have seen all these things, right? Today. Now we are trying to build or stitch them together with the help of chain. So what I need to do is chain is equal to prompt, model, and output parser. The syntax is so simple. And what will be input to my this chain? Anyone can tell me, please? Input for this chain will be input of my first component. This you should always remember. And how should I know what this prompt take? Let me take you to the Langchain. In this table in the documentation, you will see these are my different components. Okay. So in my chain, let's say my first component is LLM or chat model or retriever or tool. So I should know, right, what I should be passing as an input. So this table will help you basically. For example, for a component prompt, my input type is a dictionary. Okay, this we have done already. So if you go back to the code, we have been passing dictionary only. Dictionary is what? It's a key value pair. Okay, prompt dot invoke dictionary is a key value pair. This is my key, this is my value, this is my second key, this is my value. This value is coming from two different variables, which are topic and information. Okay, so you should remember whenever there is a prompt, I can pass a dictionary. And what is my output? Output is a prompt value. Okay, simple text. And all those variables will be replaced by their actual value. All right. Chat model. What a chat model will accept? A string. This we have seen today. We started sending a simple string. Okay. This is my model. This is my chat model basically, right? So when I invoke that model, what is my input? This can be a string. Okay. What are transformers in LLM? This is what? This is a string. Very good. What else? List of chat messages or a prompt value. List of chat messages. This also we have done. We pass those messages, correct? In our next example, what we did, we sent the messages, list of messages, isn't? So this is my second possible value for LLM chat models, okay? Or a prompt value, okay? So this, for example, output parser, the output of a LLM or the chat model. Output parser can accept what? The output of a LLM or the chat model. This is exactly what we have been talking about. This is the parser. What parser can take? The output of the model. Okay? So this is how basically I can use this table to know what should be input and output. So this is my chain prompt, model, and output. And when I want to invoke this chain dot invoke, because this is again a runnable. So what I should be doing is I should be passing the input of my first component, which is prompt. So input dictionary, I will create one dictionary. Topic is the transformers, information. This is my, and then I will print the response. Very simple. Sure, I will be happy to help you to plan a blog post about transformers based on the information provided. Here is the outline. Introduction, history of transformers, how transformers works. This is the conclusion. Okay. So our question was, you are an experienced copywriter and expert in topic. The value of topic is my transformers, and the task is to plan a blog post. I want to create a or I want to write a blog post. So I want LLM to create a plan for it. What should be my plan? So this is saying that you should be proceeding like that. First, you should put some history of the transformers. Then you should put how transformers work, applications, and conclusion. Is it making sense, guys? मजा आया, I suppose. नहीं आया मजा?
I have one question.
हम्म
Um, हमारे पास तो पहले F string है, right?
हम्म
Then why do we need chat from template?
So as I said, right, when we build conversational applications, we have to send the history of my entire conversation. Okay, जैसे in ChatGPT, right, we ask one question, and on top of it, we also ask another question, right? We say what is capital of India, then it will say Delhi. Then I can ask, tell me the different monuments which are present in it. When I'm saying it, basically my question, my LLM does not know what you asked earlier, है ना? उससे नहीं पता होता है आपने पहला कौन सा क्वेश्चन पूछा है. उसके
Mm-hmm.
लिए every request is a new request. ठीक है, उसके पास कोई
Mm-hmm.
मेमोरी नहीं होती है. Every request or every question is a new question. So whatever messages or chat we have done with the LLM earlier, हमें वो सारी की सारी फिर से भेजनी पड़ती है. We have to send it
Mm-hmm.
again so that it knows what I am talking about. मेरा context उसको पता नहीं रहेगा otherwise. ठीक है, so in order to achieve that, Langchain has provided me this chat prompt template where I can stack all my messages in one object,
Mm-hmm.
and I will be passing the entire object in my every request.
Mm-hmm.
ठीक है,
I see.
that's why I need to
Okay.
use it. Hmm.
And second question is that uh, we have runnables, right? So can we
Mhm.
create our custom runnable?
I think you should be able to, but I personally have not tried. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that should be using that runnable that runnable interface. Mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm. I think I'm not able to. If we are on the VS Code, maybe we can go into this particular class and then we can see the structure. Okay, and we can
Mm-hmm.
try. I have not done in actually in the past. Maybe let me ask. Yeah. Next question, please. So runnable interface is just an interface, right? So for example, I have created something called model, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that basically implement that interface so that it can use the same set of method. So if you are writing anything like that, if you are creating a new component and you want that component to use the same set of methods, then you should implement or you should use those interfaces. Getting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I have one exercise, okay, which is like so what you have to do is you have now the theoretical knowledge about the different building blocks of the Langchain. What you have to do is you have to create a chain that generates interview questions given two things: the position name of for a job and the job description for that job. Okay, so this is your assignment. Just try to build your own chain, and that chain should be able to generate some interview questions based on two inputs: the position name for a job and the job description. Is it clear? Simple thing.
Yes.
Okay, let's say the position name is data engineer, and the job description, you can put any job description, right? He should be able to work with the data, pull the data, blah blah blah. You can use ChatGPT to get position name and job description, and then you can use those things to build your chain. Okay, just try to do it. Okay, we will discuss the solution in the next class. Anything else so far? Any question from the previous sessions, or if you need any separate doubt session, that is also fine. Do let me know before we conclude today. Okay, so just go through the recording as well, and try to go to the Langchain documentation as much as possible, because that always has the things which are very latest. And if there are new objects which have come up, those are also available in the Langchain documentation. So keep on scrolling
Narendra,
Yeah.
sorry, last week I was not available. So I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to see the recording.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen, but I don't see the recording here. Is this a one recording? It's a Google Drive.
So the recording is on the YouTube channel, right? I shared the link in the
Oh,
group.
this is the YouTube. Okay, okay. I was checking in the Google Drive. Okay, fine. No issues.
So Google Drive, you will have, any notes or any Google Colab files which we have used. So
Okay,
yeah.
got it, got it.
So
Okay, yeah,
if you go
yeah.
into the
Today,
fourth setup environment in Python, you will see the
okay,
Google Colab files which we used.
okay, sure, sure.
Video will be there on the YouTube only.
Yeah, I have set up actually in the Eclipse itself. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
will try to use it. I have all the plugins in it.
Eclipse or VS Code. Why you are not using VS Code?
Which one?
VS Code, Visual Studio.
VS Code. Huh?
Mm.
Okay, I can use that, but
I mean, that is very
if I
standard
was
actually.
having this setup, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'll use that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It will also have
I
some
was
consistency,
actually
right?
familiar with Eclipse, so I was continuing with
Mm-hmm.
this only.
Mm-hmm.
So that
I think you should switch to VS Code. That will be more helpful, and that will also bring consistency, right, among ourselves.
okay.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, fine. Yeah.
I have
Okay.
also used Eclipse a lot when I used to work in Java.
Okay. Mm,
Yes, you are working on Java?
yeah,
Okay, okay,
Java, Python both will be there.
okay. Good, good.
Here, both I have both Python and as well as Java, both we
Mm-hmm.
have it here.
Used to build war files, ER files.
No, not that level.
Mm-hmm.
Just a kind of
Utilities.
utilities kind of. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Working for Ericsson.
Yes.
Which location?
Ericsson is a client for me.
Okay, client. Got it. Okay. Chalo, ठीक है. Thanks everyone. If you don't have
One
any
more
further
thing.
question, yeah.
If I have, let's say I have a data,
Mm-hmm.
I have one ticketing tool,
Mm-hmm.
Smart SMP.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can extract a data of, let's say, some last 3 to 4 years of tickets data,
Mm-hmm.
and if I give it as an input to the any of the model here,
Mm-hmm.
so if let's say any newcomer come tomorrow and if he wants to check what any ticket he got, and if he checks with this data with the previous data,
Mm-hmm.
so will ChatGPT can able to give what exactly is the similar kind of issue has been reported by anything, and what is the solution for this has been given for that.
Yes, yes, definitely. So this will again come in the RAG. So we will cover retrieval augmented generation, where you will
Okay.
be creating your own knowledge base. That
Mm-hmm.
knowledge base will be built up of your this ticketing data. You will export your ticketing data and you will vectorize it. You will create embedding of
Mm-hmm.
those data, and that will be put in a vector database. And then once the user fires a question, like regarding any issue which was there in the past, then it will do similarity search with your in your vector database. If it is able to find such similar tickets, it will take those 4 or 5 tickets, and then it will take your question as well as those information, and it will give it to the large language model to finally analyze that data and give you the final answer. So yes, we
Do
will
you
be
have
doing.
any ready-made code available so that I can just use it for now?
Ready-made code is not. I mean, I do have, but that
Just
is
if you
on the
have a
PDF
program,
actually.
if you have just a
So
program so that I can feed my data and I can check for that. Is it anything possible?
okay. So I mean, I have data where I'm actually using the PDF as an input file, not like
Yeah,
the
yeah, of course.
structured
See,
data.
yeah, whatever it is. Okay,
Hmm.
yeah. So, uh, okay, structured data you said, right? Maybe I can, if you have anything, I can change the code accordingly.
Yeah.
How exactly
What you
the
should be doing is you are having your data in the CSV file, is it?
no, I need to extract. I don't have. I was just thinking
Mm-hmm.
about this actually. How
So
can I go ahead
so
for
what you
this?
do
I need
is
to extract the
just
data from
yeah.
SMD.
So do one thing, just extract your data in some output file. Maybe you can
Mm,
take initially 100 rows or so in a
mm,
CSV file. Okay.
mm. Okay,
So get that dump in a CSV file, and then you can go to the Langchain and just see the data connectors for CSV, how to load CSV data. Okay, so it will have some connector which will, or some loader which can load the data from the CSV file, and rest of the code I will share. You can use that same code, just replace the loader one. I am
okay,
loading the data from the PDF file. You will be loading from .csv file. That's it. So
okay.
I mean, you can at least start doing some R&D. By
Yeah,
that time, I think in a period of 2 to 3 weeks, we will be covering it in much detail in our session
okay.
on the RAG. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Sunanda.
All right. Anyone else has any other questions before we close the call?
So RAG will provide you the solution to create chatbot, Surendra?
Yes. So
Okay.
you can create any kind of application, but yes, chatbot is something which is the main use case for
Mhm.
Gen AI. Sania, you have been quiet today. All right. Anyway, thanks everyone. Enjoy rest of your weekend, guys. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.